Guys, Shaz here, back to talk about Love is Blind Season 6, the reunion show. So grab your golden goblets and let's chat.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome, everyone, to the Love is Blind reunion.
Yes.
Let me say up front, I'm not going to be talking about the OGs, the previous contestants from previous seasons. We've been there, we've done that, we've seen them. We don't need to go on any journeys, Nick and Vanessa, to remember their, stories. And I'm also not going to talk about Johnny and Amy. They're good, they're strong, as we knew they would be. They're still totally in love, so congrats to them again. Start with Jeremy, and he reveals that he's in a relationship, he's seeing somebody, and they do a big reveal, and surprise, surprise, it's Sarah Ann.
Let's please welcome Sarah Ann to the show.
It was a little bit muted there. She didn't quite get a roaring, warm reception. What did you guys think? Wow. Awkward. So Sarah Ann reveals that they've sort of been seeing each other since we saw them on their jet skis, and it's about a year now, and they are living together. And then Laura joins us virtually from Spain, and the first thing Nick gets into is the chick on social media who came out to say that she was actually engaged to Jeremy. And he clears that up, he says he was engaged to her, but they broke that off before he came onto the show, and Sarah Ann and Laura both say, yeah, he did talk about it, so they knew about her. And then Vanessa asks him directly about, the GPS. Why did he lie about it to Laura? Typical Jeremy, I didn't lie. Didn't lie? Maybe you didn't lie. You just forgot that it was on, and you got caught in your lie.
Why would you leave your location on and then lie about it?
I didn't intentionally lie about that. I did share my location.
Well, then Jeremy behaves like the child we've all come to know and acts like he was such a good human, because immediately the next morning when he heard that Laura was awake, he went up to tell her all about it.
And then instantly went up the stairs to tell her that Sarah Ann and I had had a conversation. Here's what happened.
Dude, get over it, and please just admit that you behaved like a douche to Laura. Laura calls him out about his lack of accountability, and little Miss Sarah pipes up to defend her man, and chaos ensues.
You've never taken accountability. You've never taken accountability. You've never, flat out apologized.
Calling someone a clown when you sat and told him shit about me in the pods. You're the pick me girl. Don't actually. You saw me crying with my heart broken.
Let's let it go.
You are a pick me girl, sweetie.
Okay.
You're not a girl's girl ever a day in your life. I think they're both disgusting.
We get Laura's perspective of sort of what was going on with him at that point that he met up with Sarah Ann, and it seems they were going really strong. They were talking about getting married. They were both sort of 80% there, and yes, they were going to go ahead with this. They were both going to say yes. And then later, of course, she hears that on that night with Sarah Ann, he basically said that he was going to break up with her. Then we see that Laura and Sarah Ann actually did have a chat at the lake house.
I want you to unload it on me and give me everything. No, seriously, I really do.
And Sarah Ann is sort of justifying to Laura about why she sent Jeremy the DM. The whole story about, I didn't have my say in the pods. And, when I got home, I reflected on it and thought I should, let my feelings be known.
Like I needed closure, but I didn't know how to do that. And then I thought, if they're not married just yet, should I just send the message now?
And Laura at that point told Sarah Ann as well, yes, it happened, but I hold Jeremy accountable. He's the one who made the promise to me to get married and protect my heart.
I really, I appreciate you, even bringing it up. Do I think the message was disrespectful? I do. Yeah. I did. I was as a woman to woman, but I was at the end of the day, he made the commitment to me, not her.
Sure.
He got down on one knee. He said he chose me. He was going to protect my heart forever.
And Laura goes so far as to almost warn Sarah Ann about Jeremy.
Just be careful, babe. The guy, as far as I'm concerned, is not who he said he was. And, just watch yourself.
And that night, when it all happened, the only thing Jeremy was worried about was his image or reputation. And then he sort of brings Jimmy into it.
All he's been fucking talking about is his image and how he looks worse than Jimmy.
But then we get some more insight into Jeremy's awesome character.
What do you think Laura meant by saying that Jeremy was worried he'd look as bad as you?
I remember all the other guys, Ken, everybody else picked me up that day, and Jeremy said, at least I can sleep tonight knowing Jimmy's the villain.
Okay.
That's true?
I don't recall saying that, but if I did say that, I was...
Clearly it was on your mind. You're still talking about me and your own relationships and stuff. That's how you viewed me.
And then we get some insights into Sarah Ann's character.
I don't talk to any of the women.
She liked to unfollow us and still follow our fiancés at the lake day, which I thought was strange.
So in South Africa, guys, we'd say this chick is rough. But I think those two are perfect for each other. What do you guys think? Anyway, you can see that she's getting more and more agitated. I'm loving it.
What about that? I'm always loud.
So take your moment and then I'll speak.
Talks about a social media post from Sarah Ann where she is in Jeremy's house. And she posted this before the show had concluded. So basically it's sort of a spoiler. And Sarah Ann acts all dumb about it. Oh, I didn't realize people would know that I was in Jeremy's house.
Even if you did that inadvertently, people online have said that for some people you spoiled the storyline for them, you gave away the ending.
I guess to the magnitude of the internet, I never really could understand that people really do become the FBI. So the video wasn't to spoil anything. That wasn't my intention at all.
Seems there was another social media post, which was even worse.
This is a reality television. It is meant to entertain you, and I think that's exactly what we're doing. We didn't miss with this one, baby.
So what we can see from that clip is she's basically being a little bit flippant about it and saying that the show is purely for entertainment purposes. And then Vanessa really calls her out on it, saying the cast that were there for season 6 and the OGs who were there in studio, it's their real lives. And Lauda as well, she sort of talks about how serious she was about this. And, her whole family had met Jeremy, this was her real life.
I was hoping and praying for you guys to come in here with some humility and realize that this was my real life. I understand you guys are together now, whatever, that's fine. But this was my real life and my real fiance, my real engagement, my real wedding that was made a mockery of by the two of you.
Eventually she does apologize to Lauda.
I'm sorry.
And Jeremy maintains, nothing happened with Sarah that night. But he apologizes to Lauda as well.
And I'm sorry for that.
To take some accountability, and that's all I've been waiting for a year.
I just think they're both idiots and truly deserve each other. I hope they have a long and happy life and that karma finds its way to them. Next up in the hot seat is Trevor.
Screenshots came out on the internet, which were allegedly between you, Trevor, and the girlfriend that you had at the same time that you were participating in this experiment.
Trevor was seeing someone while he was in the pods. And he was texting her right before he went into the experiment and as soon as he left. And they had the text for us.
I love you so much, honey. I'm excited for it, but more excited to get back to you after and start our life together.
She responded with, did you land?
Look at his expression.
Trevor responded, just did. Then, skipping to when you left the pods, you again wrote, do you still love me?
She says, pumpkin, I'm crying.
Trevor then says, can I call you in 30 minutes?
She said, I missed you so much.
Trevor wrote, I love you more than anything in this world, and I'm going to marry you. Trevor says, I hope you know how much I love you, and had to pretend that this wasn't real life to say anything I said.
I was so angry with him in that moment, and just the fact that he could smile like that and try and look all sheepish and shy, like, oh yes, that was me. And so Nick gives the floor to Trevor, what do you have to say for yourself? And guys, he literally had nothing to say. Apparently he had his whole little speech planned, but when it came down to it, silence.
I had a whole thing planned to say, yeah. So
So he literally says that this girl wasn't technically his girlfriend before he came onto the show, and that he told her he wanted to experiment something else. What does that even?
I don't fucking know.
And at this point, Nick's kind of, asking him questions. She's really pressing the issue. And Trevor's little speech that must have been getting all confused in his head because it just gets really chaotic a little bit confusing. He sort of says, he didn't really love her and that they were toxic. And I don't know, maybe I'm confused now. What happened there, guys? Please help me out.
So that's what you're going with. You didn't really love her. You told her you loved her.
No, I
Okay,
did.
so-
I would have been with Chelsea. I told her that. She knew that. Like,
Oh my word, guys. I got so upset with all of this. I just spilled my golden goblet and liquid went all over my iPad. Anyway,
her and I were so fucking toxic.
So toxic that after you got out of the pods, you said, I'm going to marry you?
No, yes. I don't know what you want me to say.
what we'd like you to say, Trevor, is that you were vile. You came onto the show for the wrong reasons and you took advantage of Chelsea. So the conversation sort of goes around, so what if Chelsea had chosen him, right? What would he have done then? So, my other girlfriend knew that if I meet somebody, that I would marry them.
I was like, you and I are toxic together. If I meet someone in here, then I'm staying with someone in here.
Like, that's why
You were gonna marry her.
And he would only have married the other girl, the outside girl, if left alone, basically, is what he's trying to say. I mean, the fact that he's saying it out loud just stuns me. And he talks about how when he did leave, he was such an emotional wreck, he calls on some of the guys, you guys saw me, I was so emotional. And Amy asks the best question, were you emotional because of your breakup with Chelsea or because you had to leave the show?
Were you more hurt of leaving Chelsea, or was it because you were leaving the show?
And and he's so uncomfortable. He's kind of, can I just leave right now? I can't take it anymore for Trevor.
Can I just leave right now?
Go ahead.
He's into him a little bit, and Vanessa asks, did you come on the show to further your career? And he was like, what career? No. I came onto the show for good and bad reasons. But if Chelsea wants sort of to speak to him offline, sort of not on camera, then he's willing to do that. Nick goes off again about how, this is real life and they really don't want people coming onto the show who are just looking for fame or, to be on TV. Anyway, it goes on and on and on, and eventually he lets Trevor off the hook. He's kind of like, Trevor, I know you want to go, so cheerio, goodbye, bye, Trevor.
So, Trevor, I know you asked to leave. You can leave now, man.
Oh my God.
We move on to AD and Clay, and they're talking about how after the wedding they didn't speak for a couple of weeks. It seems like Clay reached out to AD first. They talk about how difficult it was. It was really emotional to watch it all again and to watch the wedding again. And
to me, watching it, I just felt like the biggest dick.
so Clay had apologized to AD's family. He felt like he had wasted their time and disrespected them. And he just felt that he was not the guy who deserved love and marriage. And that's quite interesting, right? Because AD in a previous episode spoke about how she never felt that she deserved love and had to do a lot of work and therapy to sort of get over that. He says that AD is the love of his life and he was really humbled by the whole experience. He's in therapy. And AD is super emotional while he's speaking. Vanessa asks her if she would ever date Clay again, and there's a super long pause.
Do you think you would ever date him again?
And they then ask Clay the same question, would you date Eddie again? And no hesitation, he's like 1000%.
1000%.
But AD was like, nah, brother, you had your chance. And she sort of takes him on then and is kind of like, you played in my face. You knew we weren't going to get married.
Mm-hmm.
you played in my face, Clay, because you knew you didn't want to get married.
That's not true.
Then why are we not married?
And, you know, Clay owns his shit like he always has. All credit to him. And he says, you know, he just wasn't ready to marry her. And Vanessa asks, you know, well, now it's a year later. Are you ready to marry her now? And he says, yes, he is. He's put in the work. He's been to therapy. And he feels like through this process, he came out a better man. And he gives all the credit to AD. And they ask him, you know, who was the person you saw in a previous season of Love is Blind? Do you remember in a previous episode he spoke about watching Love is Blind from a previous season and feeling like he doesn't match or live up to what he saw in that season in terms of being a husband and being ready. And it turns out it was Brett, who was from season 4, and it was in the audience.
It's very humbling to hear, honestly.
And so then the past participants have some questions and they're asking the cast of season 6, and Micah has a question for Jimmy.
What did your friend think about Chelsea sharing your little secret with the world?
Oh my god, and you see Chelsea's whole demeanor change. You see her legs start to jiggle and the face sort of changes. I loved it.
I told you out of confidence.
Jimmy talks about the fact that she had an ex that she was hanging out with. Chelsea, I don't hang out with him.
It was also, she had an ex-boyfriend that she still hangs out with. She mentioned
I don't hang out with him.
And then Nick kind of asks the rest of the cast, you know, what do they think about the fact that Jimmy shared the secret with Chelsea off camera and she basically outed him on camera? What do they think about it? Another long pause.
I'm curious, the rest of you, how do you feel about this situation of Jimmy sharing a secret with Chelsea and her sharing that secret on camera? Yeah?
And then Claire and Micah kind of stand up for Chelsea a little bit. They're kind of saying, you know, she was going through all these emotions, so while it was a secret, they can understand it was bugging her. And then, of course, Chelsea takes the opportunity to stand up for herself. She does, though, acknowledge that it wasn't her finest moment, and she does apologize again, which credit to her. Well done, Chelsea. And Nick then asks if that was a defining moment for Jimmy, and as we called it in our previous recap, it was. He acknowledges that was kind of the turning point for him, and I don't blame him, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And the right decision would have been for me to let you go at that point.
So then they move the conversation to Jessica and Jimmy, and I must admit, I felt a little bit annoyed because they had their moment at the lake house, everything seemed resolved, but the whole conversation was around some interview Jimmy gave where he spoke about how Jessica left the room within 10 minutes, but it turns out it was after 2 hours and Jessica felt really disrespected by that, etc., etc. I really felt like we didn't need this segment, and after coming out of the conversation with Chelsea and Jimmy, I thought we'd spend more time there. I felt we were robbed of a bit of Chelsea and Jimmy time. We didn't address the clingy issue. We didn't fully address, you know, the kinds of conversations and arguments they'd have after she maybe had too much wine. But yeah, I just thought we'd focus on that a little bit more rather than going back to Jessica and Jimmy. What did you guys think? Did you like that we focused back on the two of them, or would you have preferred to hear more about Chelsea and Jimmy's relationship, which was the actual one that was happening? Let me know. What I did enjoy, though, was Chelsea's face and expressions during that whole interaction. Here are some highlights. Dun, 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 dun. Vogue, 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 Vogue. Apologies for that. Maybe too much of the Golden Goblet. Anyway, they do address the Megan Fox comment, and Chelsea handled it like a champ.
The world is harsh. I am so proud of myself, and I have just been taking it with grace and just making humor of it, and it is what it is.
And then they move on to Kenneth and Brittany, and they talk about the fact that Kenneth was on his phone a lot. We saw that. We didn't really chat about it a lot in our chats. And they also mentioned the fact that, people on social media were kind of commenting that Kenneth didn't really seem that bothered by their breakup. And he addresses that as well, and I think he clears it up quite a bit. And it also goes to show that we see what the producers want us to see, and there's a lot of stuff that happens off camera or that doesn't make it to the show. So they seem to be in a really great place. They're really good friends. They talk every day, and I think that's a really great outcome. There was love there. It didn't work out for them, and we can make up our own reasons in the absence of seeing the real story. But they are in a good place, and I'm happy for them.
I know most times you see like the emotionalism come in. That was there, it doesn't happen at that moment. And so when people say like, oh, he just didn't care, like, no, and that actually was not the case. I can understand how it looks, but everyone's different.
We speak nearly every day.
They then go back to the Matt and Amber story, and the only other tea we get was that AD had actually had 2 dates with Matt after the pods, after the whole experiment, but it didn't really go anywhere. But that was it, and that was the reunion show. We spent way too much time on the past participants or cast members, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys thought. Let me know down below in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the reunion. I think that Nick and Vanessa did a better job than they have in previous reunions. They've obviously taken the feedback to heart. But yeah, this is it. That's a wrap. Love is Blind Season 6. We're done. Let me know which reality show you'd like me to recap next. I have loads of favorites. I'm probably going to cover Survivor. We just started recently. I know The Amazing Race just started, but if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe. It's free, no charge. And yeah, stay good, guys. Stay cool. Love you all. Thanks to all my subscribers, and we'll see you next time. Bye.